Welcome back. This is the fourth safety lesson in the Southwestern Oklahoma State University online new continuing education course, which is Health, Safety, and Certified Fall Prevention Teacher Training. There's 5 lessons focused on safety and then another 5 on the teacher training. But as I've explained before, the teacher training draws on Tai Chi moving for better balance, the 8-form Yang style system, which is the same that the safety system draws on. So we're learning the fall prevention at every step, principally because Yang style Tai Chi was designed to protect people in a village, as I've explained, who were being attacked by warriors with spears and swords and horses and armor. And if they ever fell, it was the end. The sword would kill you in a moment. Today, we have essentially the same problem. If you are attacked, you need to get away, and if you fall, then the attackers have you. This is not a sport. There is no referee. There is no ring. Everyone around can come up, and if you are kicked, there's nothing you can do to defend against that. Okay? So, in this 4th lesson, we're going to continue to update what we've done in the past, beginning with the training that we did in 2015 for the professional counselors, therapists, and social workers, okay, who are bound by the Do No Harm code, okay? The last time that we taught this, we were using what we had, and we critically need to update certain portions of it with better techniques, okay? We'll start with one that we covered last time, that we covered in the workshops, and we'll show you how we did it. We have to change this, okay? Let me see, I think maybe standing this way might work better. This was a defense against being choked, okay? Now, when the hands go up to choke you, okay, which we have to stop, obviously, the defense was you knock this, you knock it this way, you hit, and then you can go under and escape, okay? So, I'm here. See, I'm using this one to deflect, right? Then I hit, I can come under here and get away. Now, in that one, we also added these elements. When I'm under here, you can see that I'm behind them, right? Now, I've just been choked, or they tried to, so I need to get away. And if I strike the back of the calf here, and he goes down, and I step on the Achilles tendon, he won't be able to follow me, okay? So we added those in because the choke is a lethal attack. Now, the problem that we have with this is that when these hands come up, you don't know what they're going to do, right? They could be saying, please help, I'm going to choke you, I'm going to grab this, I'm afraid. You don't know what it is going to be, okay? Especially if you're a counselor, okay? So, we've gone to a different system. Instead of trying to deal with it here, we're going to deal with it out here, okay? And the earlier we're able to do that, the better. And we have the hands come up this way. Now, I'm relaxed, I'm here, I'm not standing around this way, so that makes sense. Huh? And when I separate them like this, okay, then I come here and say stop. Please don't come at my throat, okay? That's harmless, right? Okay. Now, exactly the same action, then you settle the thing down. If this happens again, and you have to actually stop the person, when we come to here and here, we can actually push them back. Now, when you push a person like that, there's a real possibility, they're going to react and they're going to go back, right? No problem. Now, so we're here and we're getting them back. Now, we have already dealt with the fact that once we get a person back to here, we can come this way, right? You remember that? We can come this way and go under here, right? See if we have an open exit. If we don't, we can switch over to this side and come over around this way. So by doing fair lady, fair maiden, actually, works the shuttle, we have both sides, okay? Now, so we have this, stop, okay? And if that backs them off, that's great, okay? Now, the problem is that when I get to here, okay, in the initial one, if they were actually trying to attack, what they're going to do, since I've covered this segment, they're going to use these to come around. They're going to try and hit around it, which is exactly what we've dealt with this. We're ready. We're right here, and we stop it here, okay? And at that point, I look for an opening. And go ahead and use what I've already learned, okay? Okay, now, I was teaching this to a lady in a nearby town who had invested, the town had invested in a commercial prison, and that's not unusual these days, okay? And so they had a number of civilians working in the offices and so forth. There were also prisoners on good behavior who would walk around and deliver things and so forth. There was one that kept trying to corner her, okay? And she was able to avoid it until one day she was going upstairs. She almost got to the top. This guy came around the corner and he started right down the stairs. Okay? So there she was trapped, so to speak. Well, when he reached out, she did this, okay, and she did this part to stop the reach, okay, and then she came over to here in order to get around and go up the stairs, okay, and that makes sense, doesn't it? The problem was that when she came over to here, okay, he stumbled back and was laying on the stairs. Well, that's not like falling down and you have space and you go around them. On a staircase, he was right there. He could just roll over and grab her. So, thinking about that, what she decided was when she is encountering a serious threat, she's not a nurse, she's not a counselor, she's not bound by do no harm. She said there's a very simple thing, and I just put this in my practice, okay? When I come up to here, or I come up to here, okay, instead of blocking here, I can block this way, okay, which is not harmful, okay? We want to stay away from the throat, and we are. And she said, at this point, if I'm in a serious threat, all I have to do is tap the eyes. Okay? Tap the eyes. And I watched her practice. She'd get up to here, and she would come to there and just go tap, tap. Well, as I mentioned last time, tapping the eyes and having people close them is one of the few ways you can keep a person from following you. The other is if they're down and you can step on the ankle or the foot and keep them from stepping, that works too. But it's tap, tap. Okay? And I watched her practice, and she'd get up to here, and it was right there. Now, there is another line of thinking that I'm seriously opposed to, and that is that many people think that if there's someone here and threatening you, what you do is you strike the throat. Okay? You're under lethal threat, and you strike the throat. Well, striking the throat can indeed be lethal. You crush the trachea, they can't breathe. Okay? And many people think, well, that's the end of it. Huh? But it isn't. Huh? And I remember a movie where a young lady was being tracked by an assassin. She finally figured out what was going on. She took her pen and stabbed him in the throat and ran. And he just ran her down and killed her anyway, or tried to. And we have an interesting book, and I'll show it to you. I meant to get it out, in which these things are covered in a very thorough way. Okay? And I highly recommend this. The name of it is Personal Defense for Women, okay, by Gilla Hayes. She has been a police officer for 35 years and watched all of the various things happen and wrote this book and really covered things. Half of the book is on how to prevent and avoid all of these confrontations and traps and everything. So that's what her first priority is. The second part shows you how to fight back with non-lethal tools, which is kind of in the range of what we're doing. We're getting back with non-lethal tools. Finally, and I think this is important today, we have an increasing number of people who are getting firearms. That is their answer to these threats. Okay? And instead of going to a 1 or 2 day training and firing at usually a stationary target, she goes into great detail about how all kinds of firearms work, what their limitations are, what kind of training, what kind of holsters, the whole thing, so that in the last half of this book you get a great deal of information and you can make choices that are very well proven. Okay, so I got this off Amazon. It's a very important book for people today, and it's not just for women. But I'm very impressed by the whole first half, which is everything that we talk about: walking, getting together, all of these things, what the predators are looking for. And then if you decide to go into a weapon system, here is a whole range of options, okay? Personal Defense for Women, Gilla Hayes, Gillahayes, okay? Okay. So, today we have upgraded our choke defense, and this this is very important because when hands come out like this, you often don't know what they're doing. They're kind of coming up this way, and it's necessary to get them away from your throat. Okay? Now, that would be level one. You get them out of the way. You tell them to stop. They do stop, and you're safe, and they're safe. If they come over the top, we're already there, right? We've already prepared ourselves for this. We see the option. We come around here. We see the option, and we go ahead with our escape. Okay. So that's a major upgrade. Now, another thing that we need to pay attention to, and I need to explain that you probably have watched me limp a little bit, and I am. I've mentioned I'm a disabled vet with damaged knee, hip, back, the whole thing. And I find that I am forensic evidence because it hurts to get in the car. It hurts to get out of the car. I get into the Tai Chi class, which I've taught every Tuesday and Thursday since 2009 at the Technology Center. And the moment I get on balance, okay, and start going through these movements, the pain stops because I'm lining up bones, not joints, okay? And being relaxed and unbalanced, I can go through all the movements, either slow or fast, without triggering the pain, which I find very helpful in the 70 and 80-year-old ladies that come to the class have virtually stopped falling because they're getting this training on a regular basis, and much of it is something they can learn and do at home, especially the trip falls. We learned those the first day, and that needs to work its way into your reflexes, okay? I remember every time I do one of these, not every time, but often, I look at where Western science caught up with Yang-style Tai Chi, and it's happened in the last decade, really. Western science wanted to figure out how to make our athletes faster, okay? And they decided, well, we'll study the animals, okay? And they found the fastest animal was the cheetah. Okay? And they filmed the cheetah. How is he so much faster than everything else, and then he just turns and catches them? Well, I'm sure he hadn't viewed Yang-style Tai Chi, but the concept is the same. When the cheetah runs, all of the muscles driving what he's doing are strong as steel, and all the rest are totally relaxed. There is no resistance. There is no opposition. And in that situation, he can turn, he can go full speed, and capture whatever he's after. We're using the same techniques to escape capture, but it works both ways. Okay? Okay. So we've got a book you can look at. We have added this to the attack to the throat, okay? And then if this happens again on the way out or in a hostile crowd and we do need to get away, we're right there and we can tap without doing harm or injury in any serious way and manage an escape, okay? Okay. We have given you so many things to practice, and I want to make sure that you start practicing as quickly as possible, and we started with some of the most deadly, and these are some of the most deadly. But don't hurry, okay? Practice often, get it to the point where you can show me what's going on, okay? But I realize you don't know when it's not like military training or MMA or sports where there's a schedule and you have a certain amount of time to get ready for it. This can happen at any time. That's why we give it to you with all the most serious ones first. Okay? Let me show you another interesting device. This has been popular among people who travel abroad for as long as I can remember. When you're traveling, and really when you're here too, you have all kinds of documents that you have to have with you to stay safe from authorities. Okay? And so they don't carry them around in their wallet, okay, which could be grabbed by a thief. What they do is they'll put these critical documents on a cloth that they tie around their waist and hide under their clothing. And then if they're robbed, they pull out the other wallet, and it has a lot of card-looking things in it, and it has some money in it. I always try to have a couple of 20s, a 10, something, which doesn't bother me because if I'm not being robbed, I just use that money if I need to. So it's not that I'm losing it. But if I was approached and being robbed, and this was what they wanted, it was a drug addict or whatever, I could say, well, all I have is this, and I toss this over them, over their head, and toss this and run. And they're going to go after what they came after. Okay. Our other defense there was the use of the flashlight, and we can have the strobe going, and they're not going to come after us. And when they see the things they are coming after flying, they'll take off after it. Okay. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to, well, there's one thing I need to cover. We did something in our practice that if you watch it practice, you don't want to do that, okay? This was a matter of convenience. When you watch, like, the advanced training, there was a point where the person would take away a pistol. We had one person after another coming after this individual. They were heading for the door, okay? And the pistol came out and they took it away. And I said something last time about if you hold it like this, you've got the fingerprints in the right place. And if you have security people coming or police coming, you kind of hang on to it, and there's your forensic evidence. On the other hand, if you're escaping and you're into a crowd and you don't want to be doing it this way, and you actually need it, then you need to put it away, okay? That's one way. A more effective way is probably to put it there and it's out of sight, okay? But running around holding it works with a police and a forensic exam, but not necessarily. Now in the class, we had a convenient thing that was really unfortunate because one person would take it away and then they would give it back to this one and go on. I don't know what we were thinking, but we had to put it somewhere and we did that. So if you watch that, remember, you keep it. You do not give anything back, okay? Okay, now, the next thing we're going to go to and this is what we're covering in more detail in the next lesson, we're kind of coming down the level of violence, and the next thing that we're going to be doing, and this is something you can start practicing. In a social setting, and this is something we had to deal with, especially in the 2015 era, Rick Bolar, the chief of police, was telling us that we're getting more and more young ladies that are being given drugs in their drinks and are being hauled off by predators, okay? Or another thing that was happening to them is they were being punched in the stomach, okay? And then the person would lead them off, usually 3 of them, lead them away and say, well, she's going to throw up, but we're just going to take her outside. And actually they were capturing her for a sexual assault. Okay? So Rick and I tried to figure out what would be the defense of this. Now, what we came up with was this, and this is something that people need to think about. You're in a crowd, okay, but it's a relatively safe place. It's not like out on the street with predators. Okay? And what we suggested is that the young lady collapse on the floor and begin to make erratic movements. The ladies in the crowd that know her say, step back, we've called her mother, she has the medication, this is her heart. And about the time you identify this person on the floor who's having these erratic actions as a health problem, the sexual predators back off. That's not something they want anything to do with, okay? So that was a way to create a defense. It was on the ground. You had all the other people gathering around. We've called her mother, don't worry about it. And that was our defense. Okay? Now, prior to that point, and you can practice this in the meantime, in a social setting, there's a couple of things that happen that we need to deal with. You're going by, a person just reaches out and to get your arm, well, no, the other one, just this one, just reaches out. Like that. You're walking along and they just reach out. Huh? Now, when you see this, when you see it coming out, you do this, okay? Right? Someone reaches out and you do that, you go on, huh? You don't let them make contact, okay? And this can be a reflex action, It's simple, okay? Now, there's another one that happens in a social setting, and that is a person coming up like this, and we have what they call the hug defense, okay? It could be perfectly innocent, it could also be a trap, okay? And when we see this come out, the hug thing, we get here, we bring the hands to here, okay? And then we just turn and take the person over to someone who we say he was trying to find you. You could make up all kinds of interesting comments. He says you owe him $50 or whatever you want to say. But you have closed the trap, you've turned around, you've put him at safe distance, and you can get away, okay? So this is one of the social things. That's another social thing, okay? Okay. You may have noticed that I limp around, and that's because of my service-related injuries. And I do have good news for you in that forensic evidence of pain. When I step, it hits the sore spots all the way around, and I have to limp. The moment that I do the Tai Chi and I'm on balance, I stop, okay? And I can do all of these things at the speed I've always been able to. So this is a set of techniques that will work if you go into pain, if you have to. But you can stay out of the pain and make it work too. Okay? Okay. Well, once again, we've given you a lot to work on, and with the deflections, things like that, this is the social side of it. Now we are hoping that the enrolled people will get their nearby training partners and run around together. And when you see something going on, you can stop, you can go in and rescue the person, because you have the training on how to escape yourself. When I first started doing this, I attended a meeting at the healthcare organizations, and they wanted me to talk to the athletes. The athletes were going to stand up for people who were being captured, and I did that. But ultimately, you need someone with training and to come in and rescue the individual. Okay. Well, that's plenty to have you think about and practice. Next time we will do reviews of what we've covered, and there is one that we'll add that you'll need to focus on. You've noticed that when we are dealing with a knife, we have dealt with it coming out from behind, and we block and we bring it up and we take it away. Okay? Yeah. Now, there is the traditional knife fighting where it's up here and it's slicing back and forth. You know, they're doing this kind of stuff. And that is not something that we can interrupt in any kind of normal way. Okay, we have to stay away from that. And then when they thrust in, when they're coming in this way, what do? So once again, you have to get inside of it here. Okay, and then you strike the eyes, and then you come across here, and you can do what you need to do. But this is coming around, and you have to block it. If you get on the outside, they just keep coming. On the inside, you can block it. Now, you're using this part of the arm, okay, which we use in parting the wild horse's mane, because if this gets injured, there's no major nerves, muscle systems. There's a cut across the bone. You know. But I've stopped it, okay? I have no choice at that point. I have to hit the eyes, okay? And then I can take this across and do this. Now that's very dangerous, but it's a lethal attack, okay? So, okay. We will review things next time. Please practice in the meantime and see if you have any questions and send them to me, okay? We're about to make the transition over into fall prevention, and it will be quite a lot simpler. You're going through the techniques, You're getting the correct form, you're relaxed just like we are now. The fundamental difference is going to be when they converted Tai Chi moving for balance into health-oriented therapy. What they did was, instead of stopping at the point, which I pointed out, of strength and stability, they went ahead and let the knee go past the toe, which activated all of the ankle muscles, okay? It helped a person overcome the freeze, which you do, if you're out this way, okay? And by moving in all the directions you would move with ankles sway and movement, they can overcome the weaknesses developed in such neurological diseases as Parkinson's. And there was an extensive study, and people practiced this modified version with Parkinson's disease, and they were able to greatly reduce the falls and stabilize the individuals. Okay? So that's the major transition over into the medical version. And we'll mention that next time because we're going on in to the fall prevention form. Okay? Well, once again, we've given you a lot to work on and try out and practice with your partner. So let us know how it goes, and we will review and get all things together for the transition